Welcome to Tea Time with Shayleigh and Amber. I'm Shayleigh Evans, and I'm a life coach for pets and their people. I'm a truth seeker, and it's my passion to empower others and to give animals a voice along the way.
I'm Amber Leidick, and I've been a performance horse trainer focused on behavioral issues for over 20 years. My current passion is creating impactful in-person and online events and collaborating with professionals to be on the leading edge of positive change in the horse industry.
We are two friends invested in theta healing, belief system work, animal communication, and any resources that benefit human-animal partnerships. So turn up the volume and let's dive into the Great Awakening, brought to you by our horses. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. If this is your first time listening, we're happy to have you. Today, we're talking about transitions because there are a lot of transitions happening. So if you are feeling tired, hungry, depressed, happy, you know what? Whatever you're feeling, we're here to validate you because it's all valid, it's all real. There's a lot of stuff going on. So what do you have to say about that?
Transitions. I will say that I have a lot of transitions happening around me, and the biggest one being dropping my first pancake, my oldest child, off at college on the other side of the United States. Excuse me, sir, that never wanted to go to school. Now all of a sudden decided he's going to go to art school on the other side in New York, and we're in California. So that was wild. Um, but what I started thinking about was the transition from here to there and like how we prepare ourselves and others that are in our care, like our horses, like transitioning to different barns or transitioning, even to the other side, to the non-physical. Like transitions are so prevalent in people's experience all the time, but I feel like we rarely talk about like how to prepare for transition. And I feel like in my situation, which actually kind of correlates with the horse I just worked and drawing the connections obviously together, was that the way that I raised my kids and I'm still raising one. I guess I'm still technically raising the other one too, but I've always come from this place of I want everyone to be okay without me. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but I think it is because of my shit that happened when I was a kid, right? Like I didn't have my dad. He died when I was really young. My mom was working full time and going to school full time, trying to like make life so that I could have a life. And so I think I was just raised in a way where I needed to be really independent, and that sort of bled into my parenting because if something happens to me, you need to be okay. If something happens to me, I need to know my horses if they are released into the real horse world and they end up with an owner who's not as conscious, who, isn't aware of the way that I do things. I need them to be able to tie. I need them to be able to trailer, to do those like horsey type things so that in my head I'm always like preparing them to go out and be as successful as they can, without the little intricate things that I know I can do to help, where I'm like, well, what if I'm not there? And I feel like I don't feel like the the reason that I came to all that, like I said, was from something that was like fairly traumatic. And I did question it throughout their lives. Like, am I not supporting them enough? Like, am I leaving them to flail a little bit on their own too much? Like, am I abandoning them in some way? And so it is something that I kind of wrestled with a little bit. But now that he's there, I'm feeling good about the way that I raised him because he was still scared. He was still nervous. He was still like, oh shit. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, but you know how to do laundry. You know how to cook. Do you do the laundry? That's a totally different topic. Not my problem anymore. But you know how. You know how to feed yourself, you know how to use your navigation, you know how to like get around, you know how to communicate with other human beings and talk to them. And, so I feel like the prep for that in my mind is always what is the transition going to look like on the other side? And what can I do on the front side of it to help on the other side of it, and when I have training horses come in, I do the same thing. I know they're going to go back to their owner. I know they're going to go back into these chaotic barns that maybe aren't as, aware of what's going on, more of a training facility, more of high pressure, more of whatever. How can I prepare the owner and the horse to go back to where they came from and still keep that balance internally and be able to speak up for themselves? And so I think it's just like expanding the capacity to be able to like work and stay calm in the middle of like a storm or the stress and make those decisions or whatever. Um, So I think that's the preparation for the transition, I think is what I have been focused on lately.
Yeah, if you know the transition's coming and it doesn't just slap you across the face or something, like as long as you know it's
And
coming.
get slapped across the face. And she'll smack you
So, yeah, speaking of that transition, actually, we were talking just right before we hit record about how people will say, "Oh, I want to get back to riding and I want to get back to what I was doing before." And I was thinking about how Amber told me the other day, "Well, I'm going back to being a horse trainer." And I've been meaning to text her all week, and I'm like, "No, you're not going back. You're going forward. Like you're going into being a horse trainer in this new uh like this new space, this completely different space from this new point of awareness." And I think that it's such an important distinction for us to have when we are experiencing transition is it's like because we do kind of get hung up on it's either I don't want to go back to that. I'll never go back to that again, like we talk about that, or we say I really want to get back to the way I was when I was a child and I was free and joyful and all this stuff. But like, we really shouldn't be using language around going back, or I don't know if shouldn't is the word, but it's like when we talk about going back, we are literally calling in on a subconscious level those lessons that we're kind of like, okay, we need to revisit those lessons. Please
No, thank
tell me
you.
more.
When
Yeah.
you said that, it was interesting that happened before I went to that session because I haven't worked a client horse and I don't even know how freaking long. It's been probably at least 3 years. Like I've done clinics here and there. And the person that I did this session with knows me, knows, we've done stuff, but she's like, I've never actually seen you handle a horse because everything she's done, it's been either online or it's been me doing the human stuff. And she's like, I actually don't even know what you do. Like, I have no idea. I just whatever. And before I went, I kept thinking in my head, I don't even know if I know how to do things because of the way I did it before, I don't know if it was right. And I haven't done it, so I haven't even been in the experience of what am I going to do if XYZ happens. Like, so I was really trying to pull back from what would I do before, and I was like, I can't even remember. And I was like, because I'm not supposed to, because I'm not going back. I'm moving into this next chapter of training with a new awareness and a different evolve, which is why I probably needed to step away from it. So that makes
Mhm.
sense. We're not going back. You can't go back.
Yes, you can't go back. And we hear it too with our friends who go through divorces or they go through major life changes. And it's like, I just need to get myself back. I need to get myself back into this space. And I will say I'm harping on this right now because I'm reading that conscious language book that you got me again.
I always
And
read that book and I'm like, oh God.
oh, that book is like so it's Amber like scoured the earth to find it for me because I think it was like discontinued or something and she had told me about it and it's called what is it? The Conscious Language, the Logos of Now. It's so good. There's some religious stuff in there that I don't necessarily like focus on, but the core of it is really good. And he will say, instead of saying, I want, it's like, I choose to call in. You wouldn't say, I'm going back. You would say, I'm moving forward into this space. And it's like little tiny shifts. Even something as simple as the word understand. He's like, if you say, I don't understand, that's saying you don't stand under yourself and you're asking for back pain. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's so like, I think there's a fine balance because if you get too nitpicky, you'd be, like freaking out all the time and feeling like you can't say anything.
I would
But
writing, I would carry a chalkboard around to be sure that I was very aware of what I was
yeah, being very conscious about what you're saying, though, moving into this new space because I'm also reading The Power of Now. So I'm also like,
saying.
the only time is now. Like you are living in now. And you like everything that you say, like, oh, I want this in the future. Well, the future is created through now. So what are you doing right now that is going to help you with this transition or help you with your future? How can you get into that mindset now? Which, I mean, we talk about that all the time, like getting in the mindset of what you want so that you can call it in. And it's so important to start to shift your vibrational energy and your mindset before the circumstances change. And I think that's what you're talking about with the prep work. It's like being able to shift your mindset, get into a better feeling space before the transition actually happens, before the circumstances change, because you can't necessarily get into this other space easily. I mean, you could be forced onto a plane, but you can't get it. You could do it so much easier if, if you would do the work like consciously in your mind before.
Yeah, and I think it's like goes back to that devotion around a practice of where's my neutrality, what's mine, what's other people's. And so when you are slapped across the face with a transition, you're like, oh shit. You can have your oh shit human moments and be in those and let whatever wants to come through in those. But to be able to recalibrate and go, oh, okay, I'm way out of whack right now. And I have these tools that I can go do and get myself back to this balanced state. So when I move forward, now that I'm in it, now I can think of what's the next best decision to make, like what's most aligned with my purpose and what I actually want the outcome to look like instead of being in straight ass survival and being like, I don't know, this, that. And I will tell you that I've been in that place for like a solid month and a half of like, I have to meditate. And I go to meditate. I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, smack again. I'm like, oh God. So it's been kind of a wild ride the last like month and a half for me, but I feel like I'm actually coming on the other side and things are just really settling down. And I feel like I can breathe again. So, but
We're
yeah.
happy to have you back. Happy to have you back. It has been crazy. Um, Life has been kind of interesting for me, just in the sense that you guys know that if you've listened to us for a while, you know that my pendulum swings in one direction or the other. I'm either doing nothing at all or everything all at once. And I'm in one of those spaces of doing everything all at once, which is currently attempting to channel the Pleiadians and connect with like extraterrestrial life. And I've been getting all these little downloads. I was just telling Amber that I got this download that there are many animals who have been born after 2023 that are currently working to raise like the vibrational frequency of Earth. And so they're actually light beings disguised as animals. And they're animals that are either super sensitive or they would come across as super aggressive or like unpredictable in their behavior. And they are like that because they're connected to the earth and they're connected to earth's like the energy and it's I want to say the earth's sensitivities, which I don't know if that's like a right way to say it, but that's kind of the only way that I can convey it. And what's crazy is there's all these shifts happening in the earth. And I always talk about how animals are so dedicated to humanity. And that's why they're so willing to come along with us and be forgiving and things like that. Except these little light beings that came forward as animals, they're like, nah, we're dedicated to the earth. Like they're like, we're just trying to keep humans from destroying the earth because if the earth got destroyed, it's going to affect so many universes on so many levels. So it's funny because we know that we have some animals that are more agreeable than others. But then I was telling Amber, like, you know how you can feel or know when a dog is a dog, like they're just very dog-esque and they live like very instinctually. They don't have a lot of like they have personality, but they're just more instinctual based, food motivated, whatever, sleep, toy, that's it. And then you have some animals that are like have such depth to them, such human characteristics. It's kind of weird where you're like, oh my God, I swear this animal speaks to my soul. Those are the little light beings, you guys. It's kind of cool.
I was my first thought was I want to get a puppy. I was like, no, get a puppy.
I want to try to get a light being puppy.
I know. I'm really in market for a light being puppy, so oh, I'm all dogged out right now.
Yeah, you have a lot going on. Okay, you guys, I had to get this book because I feel like we need to just give you a few examples out of it. It's things that you don't even think. Like, for example, the statement, I'm happy if you're happy, that's literally like allowing others to control your happiness, which is so
Yeah,
interesting, right? That's conditional.
right. No,
You
it is conditional, even though it sounds like you're being like the word I'm looking for. It sounds like I'm happy if you're happy. Like it just slips into that people pleaser shit, man. I'm really that's always my thing that I'm working with. I always say I'm recovering, but like we are not lying. I am still very much in it. And that's something that feels aligned with what I say. And it doesn't necessarily mean I say it like that, but there's a lot of different ways to say that, I think. And I have been needing to be careful of.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how you're gonna have to read this book again and
I know.
just get
I gotta
a sense
bust her
of
out. She's always out on my counter. She's not even with the rest of the books. She's always there. And we at one point had made copies of, those little charts in there
Hmm.
and made copies, and I had them, I think I still have them. They're just buried on the refrigerator so that like there were the little phrases and the things that it means and what you can use to replace it. And so for a long time I was like obsessed and I kept looking and looking like, oh, and then I would correct everyone and everybody was just so tired of me. So I stopped doing it.
That's what I was doing too, and I had to kind of take a step back because like I'd be like, oh gosh, like I'm reading this one right now. I want to get better. That sounds like you are moving in the right. I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. I want to get better. That's calling in what you do want. But then he says, want is lack, better is vague.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's like a power in being
Yeah. What
specific,
is better? What does
right?
better look like? That's so non-specific. I don't like that. I want better.
Yes.
I want to be even happier. It's like, well, what does happy look like? When I was doing a lot of coaching, like that's what I would kind of do is I would ask these questions. People are like, I just want to be happy. Well, what does that look like? And people would be like, I, I don't know. Well, then you want you're moving forward something you don't even know what it looks like. Like get specific. Like what is happy to you? Um, so yeah, that's interesting. And that kind of ties into the transition stuff too, right? You're like, I'm going into this next thing. Okay, well, what is that? What do you want it to look like specifically? And I just told the last call I was on, I was like, yeah, because I'm going on a meditation bender this weekend.
Mhm.
And I need because I feel the need to get clear on exactly what I want moving forward with like my career and stuff, right? And I can be like, oh, I want to have lots of clients, I want to do lots of clinics, but that's not it's non-specific, right? So like getting really, really clear on exactly what I want it to look like. So I'm not like wasting, not that it's wasting, but I want the shortest, straightest path to the
Wait, want is lack. So what would
uh,
you, you're choosing the shortest, you're going to
yes.
choose the shortest, straightest path.
Yeah, to what feels most aligned to me for this next phase. So, um, trying to be trying, not trying. Oh God. Oh
So
God.
hard.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's like,
I
okay, you
am
guys,
a crybaby.
we had this conversation when Amber and I were traveling together where she said, I don't believe in luck. And I was like, I don't either. And we started talking and I was like, I get good luck with parking. And she was like, oh, there it is. Like you said, luck. And I said it like four more times, even though we know that I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in luck. And she had to be like, well, it's just like what you say to someone who's not
Meant
ready to
behind
like,
it.
huh?
You know, it's like the sentiment underneath it, right? Like it's like we know I don't believe in luck, but I'll say I have good parking karma. You know what I mean? Like I always go into the parking lot. So there's this little town that I love going to. It's called Capitola Village and it's by my house. The parking sucks,
Tiny
basically.
little spots.
And there's like all the restaurants, and then there's like they're always full. But I always get to park right in front of wherever I'm going. And I think it is because
And a
I,
huge truck.
you know, and I'm detached to the idea that I need it because there's this little parking lot behind all the buildings that hardly anyone knows about. And it's a little expensive, okay? But it's right next to the restaurant. So I know in the back of my mind, I have this plan of like I can always park there. So like I think the like need and want and the like little death grip on finding a parking spot just isn't there, which is why it's always so effortless to me.
Yes, you're not introducing the resistance.
Yeah, because
Because the more we want something, the more we usually introduce resistance because we say we want it, which is rooted in lack, and we end up focusing on the absence of it. And I just found this page, the one that you're like talking, the one that you're talking about, where there's the limitations and the upgrades. I was like, I know what page you're talking about. I gotta find it. So like I want would be upgraded to I choose, I claim, I have, I empower myself to have, I will have, I am claiming. I can't goes to I can, I choose to be able to, I will find a way to be able to. I don't know how goes to I choose to know how, I will find out how. I can't see myself saying I choose to know how to do this thing,
yeah, those
but
are
I
like
feel like I could say I will find out how.
I will. I like that. I will
Yeah.
if you're willing it to be.
I'm blocked goes to I'm clear. I have my clear path. My divine way is prepared. It's beyond my control. It's within my control. I have divine control. What about that though? Because like I
I
feel like
feel
when
weird
we
about that. That feels speed bumpy to me.
it does, because it's beyond my control. That's just surrender, isn't it?
That's what I think. I think that one's wrong. Scratch that one off.
Scratch this one out of the book.
We need to edit that one out. Yeah, as soon
Yeah.
as you said it, I was like, ew. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that one feels interesting because certain things, I mean, I get the sentiment behind it because in a law of attraction standpoint, we would say everything's in our control because you're in a vibrational alignment with it in some instance, but we don't necessarily call in illness. Like we're not asking for illness, but it's like a compilation of like little vibrational energies and stuff. And some of that can feel kind of out of your control in the sense that we don't always know what we did in order to call that into our energy.
right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you'd have to be barely human to be able to be so aware that every single thing that comes out of your mouth is like burp, burp, burp. And it would be boring, honestly, without the lessons. Like, why are we even here? Like, it feels hard and heavy, and I know people are going through a lot of stuff right now, but at the end of the day, like, does anyone just really want to be happy all the time with no contrast? Like, the
Mhm.
happiness and the satisfaction and the like oh fuck, that was so hard and I got it done feeling on the other side is what makes that stuff feel so good. So while we can like talk all day long about how grief kind of sucks and anger and resentment, all these things kind of suck, it's like a catalyst for like how good it can feel on the other side. I don't know.
I
So
agree.
we really want to be able to control every single, no, I don't think so. That's not what we signed up for. We
We
did
signed
not.
up for, we need the growth. I'm trying to think if I have any sort of transition in my life right now. My husband came home a couple days ago from like a long trip and I was excited to have him, of course, but then that night I dreamt about having to share a bathroom. It was so funny. My subconscious was like, and now your space is invaded and
You
your
are no
routine.
longer single.
It was so funny. That's like the only transition. And like my conscious mind is like, oh, I'm so excited. But I am such a routine oriented person, you guys. Like, someone asked me the other day, they needed help. And I was like, I'm too tired tonight. Can you call me in the morning? And she was like, what time do you wake up? And I was like, 6:30, but like I got a routine. And she's like, okay, well, I'll just message you in the morning, like late morning. She messages me at like 6:45 and is like, are you ready? And I was like, actually, no. I have this whole routine that I do with my horses. I have to drink my coffee, I have to read my book, I have to do yoga, and then I can have a conversation with you. So really, when I said morning, I mean like 10:45, 11. I ended up talking to her and it was fine. And like, but it's just so funny. I find myself getting so stuck in my routine. And anytime my husband comes home from a long trip, he's like, something changes. Like, he doesn't even just feed the dogs whatever they were getting fed before. He's like, what are the dogs eating? Where, what? Because I'm always shifting things around. It's so crazy.
What is that like for you when he's gone and then comes back? I was kind of thinking about that, like when he travels, and I'm in previous relationships, if someone were to go away and come back, not necessarily this one is different for me for some reason. And I was like, is this like everyone? But I would have a really hard time reconnecting with the person. Like, it would take me a solid like 24 hours before I felt like I wanted to be I don't know, like affectionate or like I just would get so stuck in this. And then it was like, oh, now I have to shift back into, oh, hi, I have to think about you and what you want to eat and like what you need. And I was like in this other path. It would take me a minute and I would kind of almost like reject mostly around like the affection. I'm not like that in this relationship, but every other relationship I've had, I've been kind of like, oh, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, but yeah, I can relate to that. And it doesn't happen every time, but it will, yeah, it totally does happen sometimes where I'm in a groove and it's just
Hmm.
having that energy come in. And even though on so many levels, I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm super excited. Like, we're going to do stuff together. It's also like, well, this is the time I normally read my book, but now the TV is on. And this is the time I would normally get in the shower, but someone's in it. Like, it is like a little different. I think part of it too is how disconnected you are while they're gone. Like if you have to go into like super independent, doing everything on your own, there's not a lot of contact and stuff. then you almost create like a wall because I think on some level, it kind of sucks to have to be that way and not have your person. So you create this like, I'm independent, I don't need you, I'm doing everything myself. And then they come home and all of a sudden you're expected to just like drop those walls instantly. So it takes time to do that versus like on a trip where you have more contact, you're talking and everything like that energy is still open, I feel like.
That makes total sense, actually. Plus, back then I was just much more, my attachment stuff was very unhealthy. And so I would go deeply into hyper independence where every time, no matter how short or long. And I don't think I do that anymore. So maybe that's why it's a little bit easier. But I wonder too, like how that can relate to people's animals, like when they travel or, like for these little animals, do they ever talk about that? Like of the
Oh
transition
yeah.
back into, I know away, right? Because you're leaving and that's like, but for to come back, I mean, I guess they always seem excited, but I wonder if that's like something that they're like, oh, this is also weird. You're back.
Yeah, what's interesting is they only really highlight the separation. I'm trying to think if I've ever talked to an animal that's like, oh, my human is back and now I'm weirded out. Maybe like one or two dogs where it's like they really got used to the person being gone, and the two that I can think of are more sensitive, have aggressive pasts, like struggle with connection in general. So then like going from that separation to now having to trust you again, it's like, nah, I need a couple days to like trust you again.
Yeah, that makes
So like the super sensitive animals, but like when like I'll tell you, Sage like bolted around like a crazy bean when she saw him and was like, she ran for like 5 minutes solid, just flipping around the yard, going crazy. Like she had no transition period. But what she does is she gets extremely glued to him for like 2 days at least. Like he can't go to the bathroom, he can't go into the room, he can't, like she's literally just like following him everywhere. And then for 2 days straight, he has to be like, I'm going to work, but I'm coming back before the sun goes down. I'm not going anywhere. Like, like he has to like tell her and reassure her because she'll literally wait by the door and be like, oh my God, are you leaving again? What the hell? But yeah, I feel like it's more the separation. Like I talked to two animals this week, actually. One was a horse that used to belong to a lady's daughter, and the daughter grew up and moved away, and the horse was like still holding on to the grief because there was just like they had a connection and then all of a sudden she was leaving and they weren't connecting anymore. So that can be really hard for them, especially like moving away, but then still being with one family member can be kind of difficult. Um, and then I feel like I talked to a dog the other day that had some sort of separation. It wasn't separation anxiety, but it was like when the person leaves, she needed to, usually animals just need to know. They want to know how long we're going to be gone for. And oftentimes too, so color is something that's really powerful to them. So if you think of a color that is like safe and grounded or connected or whatever comes to your mind, usually they like yellow or blue or green. You can imagine yourself in that color and then imagine the animal in that color. And that creates just like an energetic connection and just like a visual for them because they communicate in a lot of visuals. And it just creates this energy of like, hey, we're still connected. I'm leaving, but we're still together.
Mhm. Yeah. I like to do that with Smarty with this little string at the barn when we leave to go get his feet done.
Mhm.
It's like a little spider web of like weep, and it goes all the way out. All right. Do you feel complete?
What's your what's your number one tip for someone going through a transition right now? Good or bad?
I would say the word that just comes to my mouth is to my mind is breathe, right? Like I feel like in those moments our breath gets so shallow and so restricted because there's so much tension, whether it's like we're anticipating it happen, we're anticipating what could happen that's good, that, maybe we're a foreboding joy or it's this amazing thing happening, but what if it's not? What if it gets taken away? What if it feels like, or if something, the transition that smacks you across the face, the face smacker. Um, it's like every one of those things always restricts your breath, right? We always get tight and we breathe shallow. And the thing that I think helps people through these transitions is the ability to be able to like actually think clearly and go, but what is actually happening? Whether it's an emergency or if it's, it's a short timeline and there's urgency or whatever it is. It's like your ability to be able to like stay calm and think through it and stay grounded and think through it is like directly affected by the breath that you have. So if you can breathe into your back body, I love bringing my back body into it. Breathe into your back body for a few minutes and just be able to advocate for yourself to yourself sometimes. I need 5 minutes. Like, because we're our own worst, like, you got to do it now, right? We have all these stories about being able to think on your feet and think under pressure. And it's like, I'm going to advocate for myself and say, me, I need 5 minutes to fucking take a breath and figure out what is happening. Or to anyone around you that's creating pressure or whatever the situation is, it's like, I just need 5 minutes. I'm going to breathe into my back body, burn some lavender. I'm hot on the lavender right now. And just come into a place where you can think of what is my most ideal outcome and who do I have to be able to create that right now? And it is not the person that is panicking and shitting their pants and freaking out. It's the person that's like, oh, I see through this. This is going to be hard potentially, but it's okay because, it's always working out for me. You know what I mean? So I say breathe, breathe,
Breathe.
breathe.
I love that. Yeah, that's so good. We gave we gave a little exercise in one of our offerings. I think it was one of our webinars, to just be present because a lot of times when transition happens, we end up worrying about the past or the future or whatever, and it's hard to stay present. So we gave people an exercise it's like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, or whatever you want to do. One thing you can touch, and you just kind of like get reacquainted and grounded to your surroundings. So that can be coupled with the breath too. If you guys are freaking out, or even if you're not, becoming present, doing little things like that. And I feel the need to throw this in here right now because our animals really do need a little bit of help. Like the animals are doing so much work right now, so much work. Like everybody is just little worker bees. If you can take 5 to 10 minutes a day and meditate for this, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your animal. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy to me how you start introducing meditation to people and they'll be like, "Oh, well, I can't do that," or, "Oh, that sounds terrible," or, "I don't have time for that." And it's like, really? Out of like the 18 hours a day or however many hours that you're awake during the day, you can't take 5 minutes out of one of those to like truly quiet your mind if it's going to make you better and more healthy and more clear. No, people won't do it. So if you love your animals, meditate for 5 minutes. Close your eyes, help them out, try to get to a better feeling spot. Even if you feel good right now, you could feel gooder, okay?
Always a gooder feeling to reach for. Oh, God.
Thank you
All
guys
right,
for
everybody. If you guys enjoy this episode, go ahead and share it, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, or follow us. Give us your thoughts, your ratings, your stars if you're listening to this on any of the major podcast platforms. And if you want more, if you're craving more, we have a membership and you can join it. And we'll put the link in the show notes for you guys. And if this was helpful, share it and let everyone know why it was helpful.
yeah.
And don't freak out. Nobody freak
And
out.
don't freak out.
All gonna be okay. Just breathe and touch shit.
All
All
right.
right.